This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour,
supported by Albertsons
and
Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Now, your hosts, Taylor Stern and Brad Sham.
Most unusual way we've ever done it, but everything about 2020 is unusual, from social distancing to the song lyrics that Taylor Stern doesn't think I know, but we will get into later because she apparently thinks I'm nearly dead. That we have a cast of thousands coming by. We wish we could be somewhere where all of you could join us, as has been our custom. That's not what 2020 is all about. But we are delighted to have you on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. We're delighted to have you streaming on DallasCowboys.com. And there was no one else I wanted for the first guest this year than number 98, Tyrone Crawford, because you are like a warrior. You are emblematic of everything that you want a professional football player person to be. So thanks for taking the time.
Well, I really appreciate it, and thank you guys for giving me this time. And you already know, you guys are my people, so I'm there whenever.
You know, Tyrone, you were on the first show in the 2018 season, and they ended up going to the playoffs. So if you're on the first show this year, that must mean we're going to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, further, we just gotta do it, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Yes, the whole shebang. That's the idea. But Tyrone's on the show because of the respect that I have for him. So we'll let Taylor and then you talk about how you've handled the pandemic. You've been in the mountains with your parents, right?
Yes. I left pretty much immediately, I guess, to Denver, and I thought the world was ending, and so I was like, you know what better place to be than Denver, Colorado. I was there for 2.5 months, made some glorious TikToks, did all of that, and now I'm back.
Okay, now you're back. Were you in Canada for a while, T?
You know what? If I went to Canada,
you couldn't come back.
Yeah, no,
you couldn't come back.
No, so we stayed here. Luckily, a house that I built out of the lake, got finished up, and we got to spend our time out there. The girls got to spend a lot of time out there, and we just had, a good old time. I got to work out and, run hills and run sand and swim. So it was all good, and I enjoyed the time. It was unfortunate that a lot of people were suffering, through that time. But yeah, I mean, we were just out at the lake, just hunkered down.
Taylor's been soliciting questions via social media from fans, and most of them have to do with how you all as a group have handled the pandemic aspects of not being on the field and having all your stuff in the spring be virtual, to coming in and self-enforcing a training camp bubble, to now transitioning back to being with your families. So start talking, 98, anywhere in there you want to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously there's a lot of different things going on here. It's not, we can't meet in our normal meeting rooms. We have to be spaced out, a big amount, 6 feet, I think it is, in every meeting room that we have. And there's just crazy things that are different. We have just the day. There's a bunch of things in the morning we have to get done before we can even get in the building. And so there's been some of the things that we need to adjust to, but obviously, guys in this locker room are, we're familiar with adversity. So it's just a time of adversity, and we're just, trying to fight through it and, bring out the best team that we can bring, and, give, the fans everything they want to see, and bring something beautiful back to Dallas this year.
Before the training camp ended, was there any group collective discussion about, okay, fellas, this is what we have to do when we get back out in what there is of the world to make sure that we all stay healthy and on the field, or was it just kind of understood?
I think for the most part it was understood, but obviously the coaches and personnel and training staff and doctors gave us constant reminders of just how careful we should be, how cleansy we should be with our hands. We should always wash our hands, don't touch our face, and just I guess kind of the warnings of how to stay safe during this time, and they try to help us through that process. Obviously staying in hotels and then getting back out to our families. Obviously none of us want to pass that on to our families. So, just telling young guys that, don't have families yet to, kind of be responsible and not, hit the club at this time or anything crazy like that, because, it could be brought back to us and, then transferred to our families. So we're just trying to be safe as we can, during this crazy time.
Well, you're healthy now and you're excited. I've seen on your social you keep posting year 9 and how excited you are. Now, if it had been a normal offseason, do you think you would have been healthier in the offseason, or would you have missed all of that practice? What was your schedule in your mind to get back?
My schedule was to be back when I started feeling good. So I probably would have been back a little bit sooner, just because I would have had access to Britt Brown and the training staff here, along with other things that I do in Dallas to needling and massage and stuff like that to quicken the process up, the healing process up. But it was great out there. I did everything I could with what I had, and it worked out. Definitely worked out. Where I feel great now. I felt great coming back, and they just need to. I was on PUP for a little bit to just see that I was good when I did get on the field and started changing directions, really like football players need to. Everything was good, and I pretty much just, for my massage, I rolled out and sat in ice baths and swam a lot, so it was all good.
With the Cowboys' Tyrone Crawford on our first Miller Lite Cowboys Hour of the season. So the other question that the public wants to know, and frankly I think the rest of us do too, is especially for someone who has been on this team for a number of years, a different coaching staff is like a complete culture change. Mm-hmm. What's it been like?
Honestly, it's been great. The coaches came in here, and we both kind of, were on the same page and trying to earn each other's respect and earn each other's trust. That's just kind of what we did as players. We knew we needed to earn the coaches' trust, and the coaches, humbled themselves to, get us to, earn their trust and, respect. So it was definitely, a good thing to have for us at that time, because, a lot of people were coming off of, frustrations of, even being in the building, if it was, the right thing for them to be doing for their family. And our coaches, I think they handled all that well. They handled all this adversity stuff well. And, they've been taking good care of us, but also getting, the most work the most good work that, we've gotten in a long time. So it's been good.
So Rod Marinelli is one of the legendary defensive line coaches in the league. And so's Jim Tomsula. And it strikes me that they couldn't be outwardly much more different from each other. And normally people would have seen Jim interviewed a lot and heard from him a lot, but we can't get anywhere near him. So I've only really had one conversation with him back in January when they were all hired, but I know a little bit about him. Tell people about Jim Tomsula.
Yeah, Coach Tomsula is he's a guy's guy. He's in there, and he coaches us. Exactly how he loves the game to be played, but he doesn't. Like with me, I've always been a guy that's been in a right-handed stance, and he looked at me and he asked me why I was always in the right-handed stance, and then he said, I'm not about to change you in, year 9. Like, that's not going to happen. He just he understands, players, and, he's just a truthful, upfront, real guy that, obviously he loves this game and just wants to see his guys do good. And, I'm excited to play for him and play for this coaching staff, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, we're going to get after it.
I haven't met Tom Sewell either, but I feel like every time I see him, he's sweating. Like, I just feel like he's constantly going. He's just always energetic. I know he's been mic'd up before saying some funny things. Like, is he like that in the meeting rooms as well? Just so much energy?
Yeah. Definitely a lot of energy. He's I don't think there's a person that he's met here that doesn't like him. So, he's a very likable guy, even from, staff, at dinner, or at in the lunchroom, the janitors around here, everybody loves him. He hangs out in the equipment room, and that's even where he hangs out, for games. So, he's just a guy's guy, and he could be around anybody. He seems like the life of the party, outside of football. So, he's definitely a cool dude.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about your role. I remember having a conversation with you your rookie year in minicamp, and basically I said, okay, Cowboy fans haven't followed a lot of Boise games. Who's Tyrone Crawford on the football field? What's your scouting report? And I'll never forget you telling me. Now we're talking about 8 years ago, and you told me, I'm going to get up the field and be aggressive and get in the backfield. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. And your role has had to change from year to year based on the personnel around you. You have always been able to adapt regardless what it was. And I remember 2 or 3 years ago saying to you, so are you an end or a tackle? And you said, I'm a third down rusher. Don't worry about the first 2 downs. I'll be out there. Third down, I'm rushing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now Gerald McCoy going down seems to me to, plus signing every available great defensive end they could get their hands on, hasn't that changed your role? Aren't you pretty much an inside guy now for this team right this season?
Yeah. So I'm inside no matter if I can be nose sometimes, or I can be the under tackle sometimes. But again, nothing's changed for me on third downs. I'm getting up that field. Obviously, with the system change, there's a little bit of change in first and second down and all in different situations, but we're all adjusting very well, and I think it can turn into be some good fun for us.
Take a deep breath. We're going to take our first break. Delighted to have the Cowboys' Tyrone Crawford with us on the first Miller Lite Cowboys Hour of the season, brought to you in part by Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys, and by Lucchese, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. We'll be right back on the Cowboys Hour.
to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Back. Happy Labor Day, everybody. It's the first Cowboys Hour of the season. Brad, Sham, and Taylor Stern, and delighted to have as our guest Tyrone Crawford, Cowboys defensive tackle. I'm just going to call you defensive tackle now, but if something happens and you pop out, and we won't be surprised. But I mentioned at the beginning what a warrior you've been, and here's why I think that. I think a lot of people who've been fans of the team for a long time recall the Achilles injury that you had in your second year in 2013. And last year, by the way, you taught me that hips have labrums. I thought labrums were only in shoulders. And you had both of your hip labrums done, is that correct?
Yep.
Yep. Like I had my shoes shined. Yep. Okay. So, but you first played 4 games before you went and did it. What kind of pain were you in the first 4 games of last year?
Yeah, I mean, it was different. I've always felt, something like in my squat, for a while before, obviously last season. And, it would just get worse and worse and worse. And, last year I just couldn't do anything to mask the pain. I've done it, I've done that for a while, and I couldn't do anything to mask the pain. And so, I talked with our training staff and, try to get out there and play some football. But, as I was going, I just couldn't get it done. I couldn't get it done at the level that I thought our team needed, and so I decided that I got to go and take care of the problem, which was my hips, and so that's what we did. But I was in some good pain.
What exactly do they do to fix that?
Well, it's just like a shoulder labrum. They just put. There was a. For me not to continue to get it, they had to shave down some bone that was pretty much tearing the labrum. There was like a piece of bone that was like and it would tear the labrum, so it would just slightly, tear away at your labrum, and they just pretty much had to reattach your labrum.
So this is the thing that jumped off and I've got your year-by-year stat sheet right here in front of me, because you have played hurt every year. 1 or 2 years you played with rotator cuff, and you played with a torn rotator cuff. I had a torn rotator cuff a few years ago. I couldn't get out of bed. And now I know I'm a little older than you, but still. What really surprised me was that there are only 2 seasons in your previous 8-year career that you've missed any time. You've played at least 14 games every year, except for the 2 years you were on injured reserve. Did you play hurt like that in college also, or did you just learn to do this, or are the Canadians just that much tougher, or what's the deal?
Facts.
No, honestly, the only time I was hurt ever in college is I separated my AC joint, I think it is, up here, and it was painful, but they put that pad over top of it, and I played the next game, but I never had an injury in college, junior college, none of that. Nothing serious in high school that took me out for a game. And, obviously my first real injury was my Achilles, and that was just insane to me because, since then, or up to that point, I never had a serious injury. So kind of blew my mind, what the league and what this football could do to your body.
I got a question. Are the Hot Boys coming back for year 3? Is that still going on?
All over the place.
The Hot Boys are forever.
Yeah, they're forever.
And that it's going to still stay D-line? Are you initiating some new guys this year?
Well, I mean, I really don't know how the initiation process will work.
Yeah, now you got to be 6 feet apart.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's just a group of brothers that we just, we have a title, across the top of it. But I mean, it's just guys that we grew to love as brothers, and we'll forever and always be that. And I mean, who knows if there's going to be more brothers. Well,
now you guys are giving back. Is it Hot Boys and Gen Youth? Is it that who you've teamed up with?
Yeah, Gen Youth. And I mean, there's multiple. There's people that we've teamed up with, in different areas to try and help. But Gen Youth is one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about some of those new hot boys in a minute, but I think this is a good transition point for talking about some of the other things that have distracted people for the last several months. Now, you have never really been shy about sharing your feelings about social injustice, and it's, as you know, I think that your public stances, your courage, and being willing to use your platform are really admirable. A lot of people have not been willing to do that. All of the racial unrest and forcing our society to deal with things that it has not dealt with in literally hundreds of years seems to me to be magnified for professional athletes, and particularly in the NFL. How have you individually and as a group, how have you dealt with that? How have you found the right place to put that? Because you can't escape it. It's part of, especially those of you who are black. It's literally part of your everyday life. How do you know where to put that and when to put it here, and now play football and then be able to pick that back up and make the two merge together?
Yeah, well, this is something I always go to my mom with. My mom is one of the strongest black women, I know. And, for my whole life, she's never made excuses, and she's never played, the victim. And that's what she's always kind of taught me is, and along with other people in my life, that just, even if you are the victim, don't play the victim. And, it's been hard for me, even, I know this is a serious time in this country. And, when we're talking with, my teammates and, amongst the locker room, it's hard for me when, guys get to the, I got to be really careful with what I say, because some people could, there's always someone against you, or always someone trying to, flip your words. And, that's where I think is sad where it's come to. There's always got to be a combative, part of this. But, it's kind of turned into a race thing. And obviously, as you guys know, I have white family and I have black family. I have a white dad and a black mom. I have white people that I love dearly. I have black people that I love dearly. My grandma is white and I love her to death. And obviously, my mom is black. I love her to death. So, there's a point at where I get to witness. I witnessed both sides growing up my whole life, so I know what both sides are. No one can hide, how both sides are. And, obviously there's a thing going on now with police brutality that is opening up the eyes of, the world, on, I guess, black men, which is, completely wrong. And it's wrong how, it's happening in the country. But I don't think that when I look at it and I see, some people and some of their stances, sometimes I don't think it's making an impact more than I think it's making or causing division. And I don't want to cause division because, I love both sides or both races. And obviously I don't want to continue to see black people hating white people hating black people, or any people hating anybody. I just want to see, some kind of togetherness, and that's hard to get, and it's not something you just do, out of nowhere. To me, I think it's something that's well thought out. I'm not saying I know that actually Kaepernick's was well thought out. He did a lot of conversing with people that he thought he may offend before he did it, and I think what he did it for is what people should be talking about, not what he or what they think he's disrespecting. I think they should be talking about what he did it for. And there's a lot of conversations you can go into with this, but obviously if you're saying something to make a change, you want to actually make that change. You don't want to just say something and have somebody be like, "Oh, that's great, Tyrone said something," and so then you're checked off for the "Oh, I did something" part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to be that guy.
You've got 71 players, including practice squad, who are going to be in the locker room all year long, plus coaches. But the players are the ones that I want to focus on just for the minute. The most important thing for you guys, it strikes me, is that however you decide to react, you find a way to stay together. And because you won't all agree, there's no way that 70 people are going to agree on anything.
It's impossible.
You can't agree on how to cook the steak. So, are you confident that, based on the conversations that you've been part of in the locker room so far, that you're going to stay together as a group as this conversation evolves, which it surely will?
Yeah. I know we will, because, you know, we sit there together and we kind of express to each other, we wish the world was a big locker room, you know, because, you know, it's just like, you know, I talk to some military guys too, and, you know, a lot of people say it, but when you're in this type of environment, you literally don't see each other. And I mean, you know, there may be guys that, you know, yeah, this is how I grew up, or, you know, this, on the other side, this is how I grew up. But at the end of the day, we're in here together, you know, as brothers, and that's literally how we see each other, as brothers. And, you know, I think there's no place like it. And we always say, you know, like, we wish the world could be like a locker room, because we can have hard conversations and still come together and, you know, be about attacking something else. And, you know, that's obviously the other team. But, yeah, I mean, I can't say much more than that, but we really trust in, like, this locker room, and I feel that way, you know, amongst football teams or any club team type of thing where there's, you know, mixed races in there. It's this many people, and we all get along. There's something to be said about that.
Yep, there sure is. It's a great example. All right, we're going to take our next break, and we're going to go back to talking about football. When we come back, I'm going to ask you to talk about some of the people around you, some of the new people in your defensive line room, and some who have been there before but may have some different roles. This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, and our special guest is the Cowboys' Tyrone Crawford.
Yes, and thank you, Papa John's. Order Papa John's Cowboys Family Special, a large specialty pizza and a large 2-topping pizza for just $24 at papajohns.com. Official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
And this summer, do more than just stay a part of the game, and stay a part of the Cowboys. Kick off football season at Omni Frisco Hotel, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys, and enjoy all the dining and entertainment options the Star has to offer. We'll be right back.
get to week 1 of football season?
I actually did, but that's a great question. And so I have two for you, and that'll be the first one, Tyrone. Did you think was there a doubt in your mind at somewhere along the line of whether the season would start or start on time?
Yes, there were so many doubts in my mind. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what the virus was. I didn't know what it did. I still don't. But yeah, I mean, I was just hoping, at some point, because when Jerry talks, it's pretty much, for the NFL is how I relate it. But I was waiting for him, to kind of say something about how the season was going to go or what was going to go down, and we finally got that call, saying we were going to be in, and after we did our virtual OTAs, and I was excited about it. It was good.
All right, so here's my next question. I was texting with Zach Martin right after Travis Frederick retired, and at some point I said to him, "How do you feel about the prospect of playing games with nobody in the stands?" He said, "Well, that would be weird." And guess what? At least for week 1 on the road, that's what's going to happen. How do you think that'll be?
Just like Zach, I think it's going to be extremely weird. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be weird. I can't say no buts to that because you're going to notice notice that stuff. I mean, some of the adrenaline rushes and all that comes from fans, and we're definitely going to miss them. And the Cowboys fans travel well too, so yeah, it's going to be something.
So what do you do? This is a question that it'd be much more fair to ask you next week. But when there's nobody in the stands, what do you do to generate the energy?
I think we just gotta, like me, I always put myself going into battle. We're going into battle against, another army. And I know it sounds very Marinelli-ish, but
War and Peace.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not what the song stands for, Tyler.
To Marinelli, it does.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is for me. Battle. There's not fans when you go to battle, so I mean, it's probably going to be even more exhilarating for me.
All right, here's something I know people want to hear about. There are some very interesting new names who have joined your room. Everson Griffin, I'm pretty fired up about that. I've been a big Everson Griffin fan for a long time. Alden Smith. In a few weeks, now we know Randy Gregory is coming back. Taylor, during the break, was asking you about Neville Gallimore, the rookie from Oklahoma, and Bradley and I, a rookie defensive end. What are we talking about here? What are we looking at with these people? What are they going to bring? And especially Alden and Everson Griffin.
Yeah, I mean, alphas. Alpha wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a bunch of alpha wolves.
yeah. So who owns the room?
Dila?
Yeah, right. I'm never gonna not say me. So
okay,
Alpha wolf meet alpha wolf.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick the top alpha dog, I'm gonna pick Tyrone as the top alpha dog.
Okay, that's what I like.
DeMarcus would pick DeMarcus. Alden would pick Alden. Everson would pick Everson, and Twalk would pick Twalk. Poe would pick Poe. I mean, we're just all kind of aggressive, hungry guys, and that's what you need in the D-line room. All alphas. I mean, if you can just imagine a pack of alphas running around, could get ugly, but it could get real fun at the same time. So I want it to be fun. Well,
yes, everybody does, and I'm trying not to get too excited because I want to say this was 5 years ago that they signed Greg Hardy, and was that maybe Randy's rookie year? And I think the four of you lined up together in team drills in Oxnard, and I said, oh, this could be interesting. I don't know if we've seen anything like. And of course, the chemistry wasn't right, and it didn't work out. So I'm trying to tap the brakes a little bit. But should people get really excited about what this defensive front might do?
Yeah, I think so. We've been working together, for some time now. Obviously, these last couple of weeks, and I mean, it's been more fun than any type of stress that I've had, in football. We've had a lot of fun, just even talking over, rushes and talking over, different stunts that we may, try and get in the game. And it's gonna be a lot of fun when you got, speed and power and just everything in between. And you got it all, to mess around with, play with. Yeah, it's something for everybody to be pretty excited for.
Well, as always,
I'm excited.
The Cowboys are opening up the season prime time, always, Sunday Night Football, and you guys are playing the Rams, which I kind of consider them a rival, but I'm curious if you consider them a rival, because I'm thinking 2018 playoffs, kind of what we've seen. Do you consider them a rival, or is it just strictly who's in the NFC East, Packers, who plays in there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like them.
Just point blank, we don't like them.
No, I don't like them. But there's, again, I ride with my guys and that's it. So, yeah, I mean, I can't really say what teams are rivals, but, yeah, that's one team that, obviously we lost them in the playoffs, and, that doesn't just roll off our shoulders. Even with the dub last year, it doesn't just roll off our shoulders. Playoffs is a way bigger game. So, I don't know, call it what you want, but I don't think many guys are very fond of them.
Have you been in a situation preparing for a game before where you had nothing to go on except prior years? There's no preseason games. They've changed coordinators. They've got a lot of changes too, like you do. Do you feel as prepared for an opener in terms of getting ready for the opponent as you have in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I feel perfectly prepared, for an opener. Sometimes, there's been times in our years where, I felt like maybe we got a little bit overly prepared for an opener. And, I feel like at a great spot right now. I feel like we prepared for, the things that they do that they try and shock people with. I feel like we prepared for everything we need to prepare for, and it's an exciting feeling to go into this game.
What does being overly prepared mean? What does that feel like?
Just reading too much into what they do, some of their schemes, and I guess if we're looking at this team, I guess you can't really get overly prepared for getting ready on the ball. But, some if you're going up against a fast quarterback, for him escaping the pocket, sometimes you can get overly prepared and shake yourself into not really rushing the way you want to rush. That's just, I guess, an example from the D-line standpoint. But, that's the best I can give you for what I was trying to explain.
Taylor mentioned the playoff game, and I frankly had forgotten everything about the game that you just mentioned, the W last year, which really started them on their descent that caused them to miss the playoffs. I mean, the Cowboys, do you remember anything about that game, Taylor?
I mean, I don't know what day it was, but I definitely remember it. I just remember that it was all leading up to that week was that the Rams were the new rivals, or they were the new Packers, because the Packers had kind of taken on that role.
Yeah, I remembered that you played. I had to look it up and say it was 44-21. Really?
What day was this?
It was in December, and they had a pretty good record, and they went on a little bit of a skid and missed the playoffs, and that was what really got them started going down. When I think of that playoff game 2 years ago, and maybe, Tyrone, this is part of your fuel and why you don't like them. When I think of the playoff game 2 years ago, the overriding thing I think about is how well you had played as a group defensively and how they ran the ball against you that afternoon in the Coliseum. Is that part of why you don't like them?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Easy answer.
To bring up all those memories again, yes.
Well, I'm trying to get you riled up. I'm trying to help get you ready for the game.
You can call Brad before the game, and he can get you really hyped up before battle. He'll just start telling you the play calls of what happened.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it's a whole. But look, this team's different, and their team is different. So this is going to be really interesting. Okay, more questions for Tyrone Crawford coming up. I'm Brad Sham with Taylor Stern. This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. Hour.
Yes, and thanks to Albertsons, when it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys.
Delighted to have you with us along the Dallas Cowboys radio network or streaming on DallasCowboys.com, and we'll be right back with Tyrone Crawford.
Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Tyrone Crawford is our guest to start the season. The Cowboys begin the schedule Sunday night in Los Angeles. We were actually talking about social media during the break.
His favorite.
Not my favorite, although I'm a little more active on it than I should be sometimes. But you want to ask him a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, is social media now, it's weird to think because you're only 30, but people consider you the old guy on the team. I don't personally, but I'm sure, others consider you a vet on the team.
She thinks you're so old.
No, it's like my age. But if you could give some advice to your younger self and the different things that you went through, what would you give yourself?
Shoot, man, I would give myself so much advice. I'd probably tell myself to invest in Amazon.
Very smart. Very smart.
No, but being for real, I want to say things that are probably I probably shouldn't say, so I'm not going to say them because Joe's sitting right over here. But I'm just gonna leave that.
Joe, by the way, is Joe Trahan from the Cowboys Public Relations Department. Yeah, you can ignore him. Just go ahead and say what's on your heart.
There's Tyrone. And there's Tyrone.
Oh, is Tyrone there too?
Yeah.
Damn! Hey,
have
number
an audience.
77.
Yeah, everybody walking by seems like they can stick their head in the camera.
Sure.
But no, I would tell myself so much. I mean, obviously the social media stuff. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that has gotten guys in trouble, and you can easily get in trouble on social media. I mean, I probably wouldn't even have started any of them if I could tell myself anything. But a bunch of stuff. I can't really think of anything right now. That's not. I mean, I wouldn't make the mistakes I've made.
Well, we were talking a little bit earlier before the show about since now that you have daughters and the hashtag girl dad has become famous, unfortunately, since Kobe's death. But I feel like you're a very, very proud girl dad. And I know you and I have talked about it personally, how that's just changed your perspective on things. Has that also carried into the locker room that your perspective has changed?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, you got a lot of young guys in the locker room, and a lot of young music, lyrics, as you guys know.
Yeah, because Taylor is just busting to talk about this song.
No, I'm not. You are bringing it up.
You brought it up.
We'll leave Cardi B out of this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody knows what we're talking about. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. With being a girl dad, that's changed my perspective. But I love them little girls. I'll protect them by any means. And everybody knows I'm a family man. There's just a lot of things that you do when you're young, and you say that when you're young that you find very disrespectful when you have daughters. And yeah, I mean, should have known that all along, but having daughters definitely really opens your eyes to it.
Yeah, and you've always been so kind and courteous to everyone that we work with, so that's a legacy of yours as well. But I do have another question, because we were talking a little bit earlier, and you were saying how guys are handling this global pandemic and the unprecedented times, as everybody has said. Do you guys talk a lot about mental health? Does that ever come up in the locker room? And I'm just curious about that, because I know you've always been such a proponent, and you've always been so vocal about how you feel mentally and physical. So has that come up of how guys are handling this anxiety of 2020?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things that obviously football players it's in the back of their heads. No matter if you say it's not or not, it's in the back of your head. And obviously, with the documentaries that have came out, with movies that have came out, the CTE thing has been a huge a huge subject, and a huge something that's been thrown around in conversations. But when it comes to like the mental health, that's always in the back of guys' heads. So we're always talking about it, and trying to let each other know that there's always someone to talk to now, and in the future we're always going to be there for each other to kind of talk to, because after, when you put the game down, some of those issues may arise in areas that you've never seen them before. And we also try and keep our families in that same loop. If they notice anything different about us, that they always have 53 other guys that they can, or if you've played in the league longer than that, but you have 53 other guys that you can call them and just have them reach out to their brother. And I mean that'll go great lengths for us. So we have those conversations, pretty serious conversations, hard conversations, but we have them. And
yeah, that's a great question. That's a great topic.
Well, I just wonder that only because I know everybody has experienced the different anxieties that stem from what's going on in this world. And I think as you've mentioned, the social injustice and so much is uncertain. And I think that really weighs on some of these guys more than we allow them to sometimes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we got a few minutes left, so we'll just scattershoot. It'll be all over the place.
Yeah, no worries.
New head coach. So every head coach has his idiosyncrasies, his own mannerisms. when you're in a place for a very long time, sometimes they've heard all your jokes and all your stories. Probably happened to Mike in Green Bay. Certainly happened to Jason here, I think. What I think people would like to know, I'm not asking you good or bad, compare and contrast, just from a personality standpoint, from a daily schedule standpoint, from a practice schedule. So what's new and different about Mike McCarthy?
Well, first, I mean, I do appreciate you not asking, in both situations to compare. But, I mean, there's a lot new with Coach McCarthy. He likes to look at the numbers, and, obviously we have numbers on our shoulder. Or, I mean, we have readers on our shoulder to show him, how much how fast we go into practice, how much we've gone into practice, and it gives you all this data behind, and all this science behind, I guess how our bodies can recover, and so he's really big into that, and he uses those things and uses them well. If we need time off, he gives us that time off. If it all comes with the numbers, he gives us that time off. If we need to go harder, he tells us we need to go harder. If we don't get it right, then he'll make us get it right. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to team meetings and just the person he is, he's a Pittsburgh cat, so he's got humor, and he's just he's straightforward. He's a head coach. He tells us what he wants, and how he wants us to move in practice, and what he wants to get done within a day, and it's all good and well, and and then I mean, he takes good care of us, but also gets us the work we need, and we feel greatly prepared.
But you got to learn his humor, right?
Yeah. It's
because he's kind of subtle. He's not, he's a little dry.
Yeah.
Until you know him.
Yeah.
Here's another thing though that strikes me. Now, people, this is just a thing that doesn't affect really anybody but you guys. A lot of teams have a very brisk walkthrough on a Friday, and very little on Saturday. There's walkthroughs and meetings, but he doesn't like that. He likes it a different way. He likes to what he calls ramp up, right? So what's that going to be like? And you haven't been through it yet, but what do you think it's going to be like?
I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great for our bodies. And he has theories behind all that as well. He has theories behind why he does that, and I can't wait to just see how I can recover within a week. Obviously before, I was feeling pain Saturday night. I was pretty beat down Saturday night, and again we had to turn around and play Sunday, and then that's not even talking about the Thursday game. So I'm excited to see how this goes, and I feel like everything he's telling us, I feel like it's going to be good for our bodies and good for our recovery turnaround, and yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, last question. Show that you binge watched during the pandemic.
Oh man, one that we're almost finished is Yellowstone.
Yes, I knew he was going to say that.
You did not.
I sort of did inside.
You did not.
I sort of guessed it because we're so in sync. He's my dad on the team. It's just I knew he'd watch Yellowstone.
He's you're the same age practically.
But have you seen where we stand next to each other? It's like I look like an infant baby.
I think me, her, and Kelsey got a picture with her in between, and
it's like mom and dad.
I am so tickled to see you healthy and motivated, and I hope that the year is everything that you want it to be individually and team-wise, and I know you would say team-wise, and I am saying individually in part because if the year is what you want it to be, then you might want to keep on playing some more, and I like watching you play. So thanks for doing this. Thanks for the price that you pay, and we appreciate you being the first guest.
All right, man. Much love, guys.
You too.
Thanks, G.
Good luck in Los Angeles Sunday night. Next week, stay tuned. Not sure which night we'll be on, but we'll be here with Taylor Stern. I'm Brad Sham. This is the Cowboys Hour.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!